Yeah, he learns how to respect the environment.
Yes.
There's not a second that goes by that I don't think about Elle Fanning.
Do you eat with the outside mandibles or do you eat with your teeth? Trauma obviously exists in the Yautja mind, but apparently not in the social standard. I keep wanting to say predator, but it just sounds wrong every time. And welcome back to another episode of Pinoys versus the World. My name is Harald Hyllseth.
My name is Chris Angkico.
And welcome to an episode of Pinoys versus the World at night. We're in the big dark. This is the time of year.
Big dark?
This is what they call it in the PNW. Okay. Is that the first time you've heard that?
No, I've heard Seattle Freeze, but not
Seattle
Big
Freeze.
Dark.
This is the big dark. Yeah,
Okay.
5 p.m. Darkness.
Yeah.
Y'all don't know about that down in Southern California. They don't know about that. Just sunshine all the time.
Yeah, for the 2 Southern California viewers, you don't know.
You don't know about this. Yeah, I'm shouting out Julian right now. I know he doesn't watch the pod. That's how I know. He'll either bring this up to me or not. Shout out San Diego. But yeah, no, how are you doing? How has this week been for you? This has been big politics week. My God. It's everywhere right now.
Big politics week, yeah.
Massive politics week.
Obviously Zora, I mean Dems sweeping. That's great. That's
sweeping.
Cool. That's a cool thing. Personally, half marathon training
Okay,
continues.
let's go.
And went to Volunteer Park. We did like hill repeats, like hill loops. And it was on Wednesday, this past Wednesday, and it was in the pouring rain.
That's how you know.
And now I feel like I can like run in the rain now, which I was like, I wasn't a big fan of that before. I wasn't like, oh, I would not prefer that. But now, after basically running in the rain for an hour and my clothes getting completely soaked, I have a different attitude about it now. I ran it with people, just so it was part of a program, just so you know. I did not just
community.
I did not just decide to do that by myself. I would probably never do that in a million years. But doing it with other people and like people that had like lights so that you could just like track in the dark.
Oh, did you not come? You didn't come through with lights on your chest or those like reflector vests?
I didn't.
I see a lot of those reflector vests.
I didn't. I have a reflector vest and light, but I forgot to bring it. But also too, I didn't realize that the Volunteer Park was going to be that dark at night.
Oh my God! It's pitch because of all the tree coverage.
Yeah,
you know?
I never really been there, especially at night, and so I was like, "Wow, this is very primal." I was just like, not.
Speaking of,
yeah,
yeah,
there you go, very
primal.
primal. Yeah, didn't feel like prey. I felt like prey to the rain, to the elements for sure.
I am prey to no one.
Prey to the random puddles that I couldn't see in the dark.
Seriously. I mean, you're just sparking memories of all the homies from, especially if you went to a Seattle public school or any school, grew up around Capitol Hill. Like you're in Volunteer Park at one point at night and you're like, how do I get out? Because there's no street lights, there's no lamps, there's nothing. That is pure. That's the big dark. It all comes back around to the big dark, but you need lights in Volunteer Park. Please walk with a buddy if you're in there after hours.
I saw people walking their dogs and just walking around. One dude had an umbrella, but like the guy was walking his dog, didn't have an umbrella. And I was like, I mean, we're crazy being out here running, but like, I don't know what this guy's doing out here walking his dog.
Getting after it.
Yeah, like just getting his dog completely drenched.
Well, that's Pacific Northwest grit. That's the grit
really is.
People don't give us enough credit for. I was just out there walking around. I went to the TNT yesterday before we watched Shorzy. Shout out Shorzy.
Doug.
Thanks, Doug.
Thanks, Doug, for hosting.
I know Doug's watching. Shout out Doug. Doug Snyder. But we, I was at that TNT, and some of the homies you can just tell aren't built for this life. It started torrential downpour, and I'm walking down there with just a crew neck on, and I am just drenched. I'm dripping in water. I walk up. I'm like, let me get 2 baked goods. Got 2 bakery items. Just walked out of there. Everyone's waiting. I'm like, no, I just walked through the rain. The longer you stand in it, the wetter you get. That's some knowledge right there. Anyways. That has nothing to do.
That's how water works.
That's how water works, people. Works. You come here because you want to know about the weather. But thankfully, that is not why any of you are here, because today we are here to talk about the newest Dan Trachtenberg Predator movie, Predator Badlands.
You had to think about that one.
I had to think about that one. But I just saw Killer of Killers, so it's like kind of all fresh in my head. We had a chance to see it again, early screening. Shout out Tyler Bowie, as always, and all the fine folks that put together those screenings in the area. I wonder if our boy Jeremy Johns was at that one. I didn't like scope him out.
No, he did the review before.
Oh, so there was another one probably.
A day or two before the screening that we went to, so he was not there.
There you go.
He was not there. Then
we get our own lane to give you our review. We're going to start with some non-spoiler thoughts on Predator Badlands, but I remember before I throw it over to you, Chris, we turned to each other, and I know we were very excited the moment it ended. I mean, we were like, wow, what a great movie. And just like, it was a good surprise. But I am going to ask you, because I know your final score. We're not going to spoil that just yet, but let's get your non-spoiler thoughts on Predator Badlands once you left the movie theater. And you've had a couple days to think about it now.
Yeah. I mean, it's like my rating is not like, it's not like high 4.5 or 5 or nothing like that, but it's very like a hell yeah type of
out of 5.
Like it's very much a hell yeah. Like it's got its problems, and it's very, it's kind of a Disney-ified version certainly of the Predator movies, but it's at the same time like that didn't deter me too much from it, because it's like it's a sci-fi action version of the Predator where the Predator is the protagonist, which is very, very different. Those two things are very different from what the other Predator movies, at least that I've seen. Because I've seen Predator, just the original Predator, and then Prey, and then The Killer of Killers, and then this. Those are the only 4 that I've seen. But, you kind of get the pattern really quickly about what the Predator like is, and like how it's deployed. It's like this master hunter type of thing in those other movies. And Dan Trachtenberg has done a good job of like expanding the Predator. He clearly that's the thing you got to say about Dan Trachtenberg right off the bat. He clearly loves the material.
He loves the Yautjas.
He loves the Yautja. He loves like he's definitely always thought of like, oh, what's the lore behind these predators, and why do they hunt, and like how do they like group themselves up? And this movie sort of explores that more. And just the fact, and it really all centers around a Yautja protagonist, Deck. Who is this little like runt boy basically, and he's got to figure out like how to hunt his way, sort of thing. We'll get more into it later, but I just thought that was an interesting angle to take with one of these Predator movies, being like, okay, how does the hunter grow from being basically the hunted to a predator that we all know and love from the other movies, and also Elle Fanning.
Yeah, shout out Elle Fanning.
Yeah,
shout out Elle Fanning. We're big Elle Fanning fans here. The Fanning fan club.
Oh, I don't. There's not a second that goes by that I don't think about Elle Fanning.
Come on, Elle Fanning, come through to the pod.
Yeah,
we'll speak Norwegian the whole time when we see Sentimental Value soon. Shout out the fatherland.
Okay, yeah.
Bro doesn't believe in me.
No, honestly,
look at that.
No, the movie's good. It's just funny. Okay, anyways, that movie's good. I mean, I've seen some 5 stars, but anyways, that's a different.
That's to be determined.
It's a different movie.
Yeah,
but no, I mean, it's just it's a very like solid action movie, and it really just is like the pace is kind of relentless for the most part, and even when people are talking, it's in like Yautja or like
so
synths
cool.
are talking to each other, and it's like way more interesting than I ever thought it would have been. So yeah, those are my initial thoughts. What about you?
Got to start off by saying, I think next to the Him trailer, I think this was the next trailer that got me the most hyped throughout this entire calendar year, pretty much. Like, of all the stuff that was showing from around the time Sinners came out in April, and if it's either big format like IMAX or just a regular screening in a regular movie theater, like there's been something about the Badlands trailer and the vibe that Trachtenberg's trying to balance that's like been super interesting to me. Just saw Killer of Killers. That's a really solid 4 out of 5 for me. Obviously, you've talked about it on the pod before and given it some praise. And I can see the direction. I honestly like really appreciate the lore build on a whole franchise that I know is so popular. But if I had to bring something to the Predator v Alien or Alien v Predator conversation, I'm definitely more, we've talked about this before, knowing more about the aliens. So Predator is like a new franchise to me. Now we're at Prey, Killer of Killers, and now Badlands, all Predator films directed by Dan Trachtenberg. Really big fan of Prey as well. And I think he continues that in a spectacular way. That got me really excited about the prospect of a sci-fi film like this being as, I don't want to be like, it's like so groundbreaking that it's just like run to the movie theaters. Like you need to see what they're doing, like Avatar Part 1 type shit, like the first Avatar, like anything that gets people excited about like new types of storytelling. But from the minute that we're in here, I'm like, this movie's got sauce because the protagonists are not they're Yautja. It's like they're faceless Yautja, and you're like thrown into a clan battle between the GOAT, Deck. Like we love Deck the Yautja. Like we're gonna give a shout out right now as well to Dimitrius, Schuster-Koloamatangi. Landed that one first time.
First try.
Come on. We shout out DSK. I hope he's all right with this call. We're gonna call you full name, short name sometimes. Dimitrius kills it in this film as a Yautja. And I mean, that was just something so like, you already talked about, they use the language. They're on basically their prime, the Primo planet, like it's kind of referenced in Killer of Killers at the end of it as well. And there's nothing more interesting to me than the lore they're building around what it is to be a Yautja and to be like this predator that everyone knows. Again, we talked about this before. So crazy. If only the Yautja knew the cultural context of what it's meant to be called a predator in the modern age. But so like we're gonna call him by Yautja from here on forward. But from the very beginning, very excited by that. The world building is incredible. It's deep. It's rich. It's like Dan Trachtenberg kind of, I felt like, took any weights he had off of his shackles, kind of like Rock Lee, to just be like, it's time to start cooking and just throw everything my imagination could come up with straight at the screen. And I think that's the biggest strength of it, is a visual feast. Obviously, Elle Fanning is like the main like A-list actor in this movie. And even Elle Fanning's moments as a synthetic from Weyland-Yutani is incredible. So I think the balance of having those two members of their like eventually found family, it's a found family story at the end of the day. And I think they do the found family story really well. Now, I think that's kind of like, I have a lot of praise to throw at this movie that we're going to talk about, I think, a little bit after the break in the spoiler section. But if I also had to throw in a little bit of kind of a negative, and it's something I'm still mixed on, is that found family and how they got there. Obviously, we'll reference, I think, the equivalent of a little baby Grogu type energy. There's like a baby Grogu stand-in and like the kind of vibe that like I don't necessarily love from these films because it's been done before, but there was something about the fact that it was a Yautja that just kind of, like, if it's just like you put Leo DiCaprio or, and I got One Battle After Another on the mind, or like Benicio del Toro raising a small alien child, I'm gonna be like, I do not care. But because it was a Yautja, I'm very emotionally invested in the growth of the Yautja. So I'm gonna stop it there because there's plenty of stuff to talk about in spoilers. But you got any more thoughts before we throw it over?
No, I think we should go into, because I do, especially with the baby Grogu thing. Like,
dude, the baby Grogu thing is big time.
I got some thoughts, and we'll go behind the break wall for that one. Yeah.
So we're gonna throw it over to after the break and come back with our spoiler thoughts on Predator Badlands. And we're back to talk about full spoiler review ahead of Predator Badlands. But do we just want to hop into it then, Chris? Because before the break, I ended my like non-spoiler reviews about talking about the one downside I think really unfortunately weighed down how like quickly I was into this. And then like kind of felt like a sudden stop because of the emergence of the Kalisk, the baby Kalisk, which is kind of like, I'm going to see if Jonas can, I'll send Jonas a picture, maybe he can throw one up here. Very much a baby Grogu, or just a baby of a found family type vibe that we've gotten a lot out of Disney products lately. And I know that's kind of part of what you've written here in the notes a little bit. So I'm going to throw it over to you. Like, there is a bit of a Disneyfication of this movie that I was not expecting. And I don't know if I really hate it, but it sounds like maybe it was a detriment to you. So I'm going to let you get us started with the Kalisk talk.
Well, I guess just for context, yeah. So the big thing, the Yautja, he, you know, the whole, they set up like the whole clan dynamics. And to join to join his father's clan, he has to basically choose a hunt and bring back the head of the game, or like the catch, basically. Like, you have to successfully complete your hunt and then you can join the clan. And so he's decided to get the Kalisk, which is like one of the biggest, you know, biggest baddest like monster things in the galaxy, because as you see in the movie, even if you slice its head off, it basically is attached to its own head, so it can like find its head and then sew it back together.
Like a Kaza.
So yeah, and immediately it'll just sew it back together instantaneously, which is pretty crazy. And that's the one compliment I will say before I get into the Disneyfication stuff is like, I love all the weird monsters.
Oh, they're awesome.
That are in this. It's basically like, you know, you go to that death trap planet. I forgot exactly what the name of the planet was, like Gemma or something like that.
Yep.
Where it's just like everything on the planet, the plants, the animals, the big monsters, the trees, everything wants to kill you. And
from the minute you step foot on the planet too. I mean, he's dealing with like plants, like trees and roots that are alive.
Yeah. And
just
then
crazy.
Yeah, and just like the hunter becoming the hunted is a very cool element that I think they do really well. I think that's like a big positive of the movie. But I guess just sort of just close the loop on the addressing the Disneyfication point. Yeah, when the baby Kalisk shows up, well, first of all, you don't know it's a baby Kalisk, and then you figure out, oh, it is a baby Kalisk, and then, you know, he just acts all like adorable. Like whenever like the Yautja is like doing a movement, he tries to imitate it and stuff like that. And then he just likes to follow him around. And then Elle Fanning is like, oh, you know, he just wants to, you know, he spits on you because he wants you to be a part of his clan and all this other stuff.
Right.
A very like cutesy type stuff. And yeah, I think it's just that those were the parts of the movie. And I saw this in another review. Then I was kind of like, I'm glad I wasn't alone in this. Where like those were the parts of the movie that like worried me. that I was like, oh, is this gonna go like way too deep?
Because it happens like halfway through the film.
Yeah, it happens like halfway through the movie, and I was like, oh, this is not really. I'm not feeling the vibe of this. I'm not digging where this is going. And it doesn't like, thankfully, completely. The movie's not completely derailed by that. But it was just like, I don't know. I mean, they definitely should not like. I think that Dan Trachtenberg, the biggest compliment I can give to all of his Predator movies is that they're all very different. Like Prey is like a 1700s like Comanche movie where like, the technology's primitive and it's very bloody. Killer of Killers is like an animated anthology Spider-Verse thing.
Yeah, no, yeah.
But this is like a future like, story where like, Weyland-Yutani's in there and all this other stuff, and the Predator and the Yautja is just, they're the ones like the antagonists. But, I definitely do not want to see more of the like cutesy Disney baby characters going on. That was definitely more of like a mass appeal thing because it was probably going in theaters.
Oh, absolutely.
This was the first like theatrical release of a Trachtenberg Predator movie because Prey was on Hulu and Predator Killer Killers was on Hulu as well.
It's not a rated R film either.
It's PG-13.
They can get away with that with all of the blood is not red and all the people dying are synthetics and like the monsters.
The Yautja blood is green.
Yeah, Yautja blood is green.
Parts. So yeah, they
throw
can
in
get
a little
away
baby Grogu, baby Kalisk.
Yeah. So that was the main. I would say if we're gonna get a con out right out the way, it's like that was the big con for me because I was like, this is not a good precedent if they continue to do it in the future. So I hope they do not learn the wrong lesson from that.
Well, the company thanks you for your feedback.
Yeah,
the company is always listening.
Yeah.
No, I sometimes I wonder when you're releasing a movie like Disney and then you make a Weyland-Yutani reference. It's like, can we not? We're not seeing this or seeing any corporate connection. Yeah, I feel like you kind of hit that on the head of the nail. I'm not a big fan of the Kalisk. I will say I'm probably a little warmer on it because where it ends up. And like, I was one of the fools that didn't tell immediately that it was a Kalisk. I was like, I had no clue. And when he started sniffing on him,
I wasn't trying to like predict the movie at that point.
I was like, let me go on a ride.
I was just kind of like, I was just having fun with it.
Yeah. And it's a fun movie and let's go back to something super fun. I really want to talk about is the special effects in this movie and like just the ability to put these several Yautja on the screen together. And again, your lead's a Yautja. My boy Dimitrius had to have been in the craziest costume for hours on end every single day. I mean, kind of akin to the horror stories of hearing what they had to get my boy up in the penguin suit last year just to film every episode of the Penguin. You know what I mean? Just a lot of, what do they call it? Prosthetics. Like you have to imagine that's probably 3 hours of setup and 3 hours of teardown. But I mean, that was immediately the most impressive thing. How do you think they got the mouths to work?
Well, I'm sure the mandibles were CG. I'm sure. Because like, I'm sure you could just get like reference for it on the set. Because I feel like, I mean, maybe they did the extra work. I haven't seen too many behind the scenes of like getting the mandibles to move. I haven't seen any behind the scenes. Yeah, getting the mandibles to move during talking. But like, definitely that's like a CG thing that you can just kind of like. But that was a crazy thing. Whenever he would open his mouth, or like you'd see the little 4 mandibles like kind of like shuffling like this. I was like, wow, this is nuts.
When Thia asked him, it was like, so do you eat with the outside and eat with the inside? And I was like, that's a really valid question.
Yeah.
Do you eat with the outside mandibles or do you eat with your teeth?
That was another thing. The Disney humor. When Elle Fanning comes in, I was a little bit like, okay, this is like.
Well, and it was like immediate. It was so strong. I would agree. That's also one of my down points of the film. I think like same with the Kalisk. I think more than the Kalisk, I understood what they were trying to do with Thia and what Tessa, her sister, kind of the evil half of her synthetic like emotions. And yeah, when they get into Thia and Tessa and talking about both sides that Elle Fanning plays, like, I mean, she plays the role spectacularly. You definitely get that they're different people to the point where even I was like, who's playing Tessa? I was like, I had no clue that it was the same actor both ways. But I'm just like, it's a little too on the nose that Tessa is kind of the less empathetic one. And then Thia is like almost so empathetic that it's like, how did Weyland-Yutani even let a synth like this get out into the wild? Like, how did Mother like let them all go out and do the job? Because she's obviously gonna, they like heighten their emotions so that they could interact with the wilderness. But it's like free will allowed her to take a more empathetic approach, which makes no sense because Badlands are a scary place. Like if I had emotions and I was up in there, I'd be thinking everything's trying to kill me. Why would I have like such a positive view of the world?
Yeah, she was super positive about
Mad
everything,
positive,
which was
toxic positivity.
Very interesting. But I do want to, because we did lead with the cons, which I do kind of feel bad about. But I definitely
like this movie a lot.
Yeah, because we like this movie.
Yeah.
I do want to get to your first thing on the order that some of the notes that you have, which is like world building.
Love it.
I mean, first of all, the whole setup is very interesting. Like the fact that Yautja is a part of a clan, and he's considered the runt. And like the first scene is like he fights his brother,
and he's physically smaller than all of them.
He's physically smaller than everyone.
He's like a Wolverine height compared to like a Captain America. You know,
because it's not like he has like the same mindset as the rest of them. Like he wants to be like this warrior guy, but he's just not very like cunning.
Yeah.
He doesn't like understand his weaknesses of like his lack of strength and like height compared to his brother and his father, and is like, you know what? The brother's like, hey, maybe you gotta. This ain't working, and the father's like, oh, because you need to kill him.
Yeah.
It's basically
and the brother knew the whole time.
It's revealed right away that like, yeah, the father was like, oh, you were supposed to kill him during that interaction. And so because of that, the father penalizes. The father's the leader of this clan. Basically penalizes the older son by killing him
by death
in front of Dek, our main character.
Well, after Dek's brother pushes him back in, or like has like some mechanism to pull him back in, because obviously the Dek's not gonna like not want to defend his little brother. And there's even a little note at the very top that at one point in life Dek had saved him from something too. So there's obviously like they're throwing it out there. I think it's like the best part of the family dynamic and storytelling that you could ever bring into any of these projects, especially ones that are based on existing IP. Just like, get me emotionally invested in 2 or 3 main characters. You got me for 2 hours. Yeah. Like that's what got me immediately. I was like, am I really out here feeling emotional beats about 3 organic beings that do not exist in the real world? I think that's a huge positive. You're really selling me on the Yautja connections.
Well, I think it's very like universal. I think it's also like, like family connections. Like, even though the father killing the brother is very extreme, and you would not see that in real life, hopefully. It is just like, oh, I think so little of you as my son, sort of thing. It's very like just a bad father. Like he's the leader and all this other stuff, but he has like this like very narrow view of strength and what it looks like. And
a very strong man mentality.
And they take that to a very extreme, where it's like, like literally, I'm gonna kill my son because he's protecting his weak brother.
And then I'm gonna kill my other son.
Yeah, he's like, I wanted my older son to kill my younger son because he was weak, and then my older son was too weak to kill my younger son, so I'm going to kill my older son in front of my younger son while he gets away, and he has to sit there and watch.
Trauma obviously exists in the Yautja mind, but apparently not in the social standards. I mean, that's just like being a Yautja, right? It's just all about strength, and it's killer of killers.
Yautja things.
It's
you wouldn't understand.
Just Yautja things.
Yeah. Anyways, he leaves. He's like basically like the brother's like, oh, go do your thing. Go get the Kalisk. And then he lands on this planet. Also, too, he's unconscious when he enters the orbit in the planet.
Was so sick.
He gets absolutely destroyed.
Oh my God.
That was so cool when like basically the guy's burning up in the atmosphere because he's not navigating the ship.
Did he eject, or did the entire exterior like burn to a crisp upon entry?
I think he ejected because later on, Tess and the Weyland-Yutani since find the ship.
Yes.
And they find his weapons.
Oh, and that's why he didn't end up with half of his like weapons that Weyland-Yutani ends up using. Okay.
Yeah.
That was a big point that I was like, where did that go?
Yeah. And so the ship comes back later, but he definitely ejects and it's just like flying through the air. But yeah, that's true. At first I thought his ship completely got burned up.
Yeah.
And destroyed.
Well, turned into one of those. I don't know if you've seen unfortunately seen the first Jurassic World, but it's like those devices.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I know that is exactly
100%
the vibe I was getting. Those little things, little cars.
And
then he crashes, and then immediately gets attacked by roots.
Yeah.
And then he just sees all these plants that like they inflate and then like they explode and then they regenerate immediately and they have like these poison spikes and. It's just him getting acclimated to this death planet where like everything, again, we've touched on this earlier, but like everything is trying to kill him. And he's just like, he's got his head on a swivel everywhere.
Yep.
And then he meets, is it Thia? Thia is the good one.
Thia
is the good one.
Thia is the good Elle Fanning.
Who's just like, who doesn't have any legs. She's a sin, so she's just nailed to this stump.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, you get me out, I'll help you. And then they, he lets her out and then they go back to back. There's like this, what's that trend called where like the 2 people stand back to back and they.
Oh, no. Yeah, I got you.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what that's called.
We'll maybe throw up a vid
because Elle Fanning, because I sent that video to you and Tyler that Elle Fanning and Dek, they go back to back.
Wait, as a Yautja?
As a Yautja.
Oh, come on.
The dude, the Dimitrius, he's wearing his regular clothes.
That's incredible.
Flannel. Yeah. And so it's Elle Fanning. It starts as Elle Fanning, but then you see him in his Yautja. Makeup, which is great. It's fantastic. I was not expecting that, which was fun.
I got to track back in the Insta comments. That's huge.
Yeah, but No, like their whole dynamic of like them going back to back. The Yautja Deck was more like he was funnier than I. All the comedy with him like really worked for me.
Deck carries this movie.
Yeah.
Deck is the star. I was about to say Deck is the coolest fucking Predator that exists in any of these movies. Bro has emotional growth.
Well, he's the only one that
doesn't.
He's the only one that talks.
He's the only one that talks. You're right. Yeah.
Because the rest of them, like, you know, the original Predator, I mean, obviously the Predator's just a hunter.
Well, in full dialogue too. I mean, you'll hear him in like Killer of Killers, like yap a little bit to each other.
Yeah, that's true. There's a bit of yapping. There's some world building. There's lore, but nothing like this.
No real dialogue.
Yeah, where you get really into the psyche of this Yautja, especially like a runt Yautja.
That's a great way to put it too. Runt Yautjas or like Yautjas, like if you were gonna like compare it to just a regular like animal, like have you ever seen those videos where it's like nature's crazy as hell? Like you've got this youngest and smallest runt of the pack that like traditionally if you did it in like any real like animal pack situation would probably be left behind. But because he's a Yautja, he's got a fighting chance. And it's crazy how much their culture is not willing to like let, because of how much like the strength is prioritized. Like, and I think Dan Trachtenberg gets that about Predator. Is that like at the end of the day, even if this was PG-13, there was a few cutesy moments that maybe didn't land for us. It's still a brutal ass movie for being PG-13, and everything that Deck does to everything around him is incredible because he's obviously really good. But you see that development throughout the entire film.
The fight choreography is like really good.
Oh yeah, A+ fight choreography. Honestly,
I mean, yeah, all the fight scenes where he has to like go up like hand to hand or even just like fight the environment, was very cool. And of course, there's also the Weyland-Yutani aspect of it.
I was like, are you excited about now? I mean, this is the real prospect of an Alien v Predator in the future.
Yeah, well, I like the way that they did it, whereas they didn't go straight up like Predator versus Xenomorph.
Xenomorph
right
versus
away.
Deck coming to a movie theater near you.
That'd be crazy if it was just a grown-up version of Deck going up against the Xenomorph.
I'd be there. I'd be seated day one.
Insane.
Yeah.
But you know, this was the first official like merging of the two worlds again, which was cool, and it was done in a way that I liked. Where it's like, okay, it makes sense for the Weyland-Yutani Future Corporation because they're like everywhere across the galaxy, and like if you've seen Alien Romulus, it's kind of that same type of thing where it's like they're everywhere, and so they're just like they send synths to this planet because humans they don't want humans to go on it because they'll all die. Yeah, and I do like the
one guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The homogeny of it. It's like the women, which there are two, are Elle Fanning, and the men, which is the rest of them, are the same white dude. Just like one's wearing a hat.
Shout out the one white guy that's playing that like 25 cents.
Yeah, he gets to play. What a paycheck for him.
Yeah, they had him in each role. Actually, the way that the SAG contracts work is that he gets paid 25 times.
I was wondering about that. I was like, oh yeah, what was the SAG negotiations for that one guy who gets to be the synth? But I liked that interaction between where like, oh, okay, that's the Yautja's first exposure to any sort of human. Was like, oh, okay, this is weird. I don't know what's going on here. Like I'm just here for my Kalisk.
Yeah, and it's like you can get out of my way. He doesn't even want to initially kill Thia, like, or any of them until they end up becoming a threat, right? I mean, that's what's so interesting. These predators will always like enter the scene in any of the movies they've been in, and just they'll have their cloak on. Also, very cool that you get the lore drop that they have to like fight.
They have to earn the cloak
to earn the cloak.
They have to earn the cloak. They're like, my cloak. I'm here for my cloak.
I was like, imagine how easier it would be for Deck. It still would have been pretty fucking hard. But no, obviously you got to earn the cloak through a familial clan. So cool. I mean, I'm Team Yautja over Predator or over aliens. Too many IPs.
Yeah.
I'm Team Yautja over Xenomorph for sure. But I mean, do you love I know we talked a lot about how much we saw some comparisons in our head that were like so difficult not to look away from Dune and like the world building of Denis Villeneuve's Dune.
The opening scenes of this movie are
where the title
very Dune.
Pops on the screen and it's like Predator Badlands.
Well, that felt like very like 80s or something.
Yeah,
like
that was cool.
Because it was like copyright 20th Century Studios, all rights reserved type of stuff. They got they got the whole studio like
that was
thing in there. I kind of like that. I kind of dug that. It was just like but it's like it comes like probably 30-35 minutes into the movie.
Yeah, no, it's
where
true.
It's like he ends up like you get the whole cold open with like the brother dying, and then he gets to the planet, and then he gets a little like effed up a little bit.
Is this
and then
after
it's like
they
Predator
become
Badlands?
This is before or after they do the Banjo-Kazooie thing, where insert any character famously carrying another character on their back throughout an entire video game. There's a lot of good examples over the years.
I think the title card is before he meets Elle Fanning.
Yep.
Because he's like he just got recently attacked by the root monster.
That root.
And then he gets up on the hill, and then he's like just there, and he's walking around, and then it's Predator Badlands.
It's so ill.
Yeah.
I love it. See, that's the kind of thing. If you're really thinking about a way to spice up your kind of dead IP, just like present it to us in a different way. I just want to be engaged from the moment like you throw that shit on screen. It's very sci-fi goodness. It's filled with sci-fi goodness beginning to end.
Yeah, I did like the sci-fi action, like Ben. You also you got music on here as well. I think the music's pretty pumping.
We love the music
the entire time. The score is very very manly.
It's very buzzy. It's very the synths again. You know, I love a good synth in a film. I'm the synth lord. We love the synths.
Obligatory synth reference.
We love it.
But what was I gonna say? It was gonna be something about the Yautja. Oh yeah. So in terms of like the arc, I thought it was very interesting. Like, he refers to Elle Fanning the moment he gets her as a tool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And again, he's very like you can tell he's got like the defense mechanisms up. He's like, I am the hunter. You are my tool. Yeah. Sort of thing. He definitely is like kind of like trying to puff his chest up a little bit.
That's all he's ever been taught.
Trying to be
birth.
very, very masculine. He's being like, you know what? I am the superior being. He says that a lot. He's like, you're an inferior being. You don't even have your legs. Like, what a scrub you are. Look at all this other stuff. I am a Yautja. I kill for a living.
I'm him.
This is what I do. But then he gets humbled. I like in a lot of ways very quickly, and like his environment sort of forces him to kind of like take things on differently.
Yeah.
And by the end, like I just love like the ingenuity because he gets like the lay of the land, and obviously he gets captured by Weyland-Yutani and all this other stuff, and he sees a lot, and he deals with the Kalisk as well, obviously.
Yeah. Oh man, I mean, let's talk about the scene then when there's just a bunch of glass grass. I was like, glass grass.
Oh yeah, the razor grass. That's true.
Razor grass is the scariest thing I've ever seen up until this moment of my life. Just the fear of having to get thrown into a field of glass grass.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy because they've got that little like that bison thing that can run through the razor grass.
Yeah.
And then there's just a giant like. I was getting very Suicide Squad vibes with the giant like little starfish looking thing.
Oh yeah.
That like flies overhead and is like just trying to eat stuff. And yeah, again, I just love that the hazards are coming from all sides. Like it's the ground, it's like walking creatures, it's flying creatures.
It's the blowing up larva. The exploding larva is crazy. That was funny.
Yeah.
Again, Dimitrius, if he was underneath the suit the whole time or not, obviously he had a lot of good comedic beats that were fully acted through like body movements almost, and like the ability to kind of like pass off emotion through his facial expressions as well. Like you get a lot of facial expressions from the Yautja. I didn't think Yautja had any other like emotion other than kill, kill, kill.
Well, because most of the time when they're in like full antagonist mode, they're wearing a mask.
You don't see a lot of Yautjas with their masks off.
A lot of the times, you can tell when a Yautja is going to be an antagonist if they're wearing a mask
the whole time,
basically the whole time, because the father never takes off his mask.
Right.
And then in all the other Predator movies that I've seen, like they barely take off their masks, and if they do, it's because they've been shot off.
Yeah.
And then like the guy just starts screaming at Arnold Schwarzenegger, basically.
Yeah, classic.
I will say like maybe throw it up on screen here, but I don't know. You haven't seen the first Predator, have you?
No, I haven't. That's a crazy call out because it's true. I have not seen the OG Pred.
So Carl Weathers is in that movie as well. And it's very like kind of like a military movie at first. There's like
is that where they do the
the dap up. That's exactly what I want to put right here. He's like, you son of a bitch, and then they slap. It's got this really like manly slap.
Classic.
And you can see Arnold's like bicep is just on the screen.
Oh, they're both just huge,
completely bulged for like fight. Yeah, they're both their biceps, but definitely Arnold's definitely stands out because it just bulges and it's like sweating and like oily for 5 seconds, and it's like
bro just got off.
This is what
a bodybuilding competition,
because I definitely had seen that before, but I didn't know it was from the Predator movie.
Same. Now I know,
and I was like, whoa, this is what that's from. I was like, okay, interesting. But yeah, that movie's very like battle of manly wits.
Oh yeah,
for sure. And this movie is the complete opposite.
I was about to say this is like. I've seen some comedic takes to me because I just can't take them seriously of dudes that can't see through like the literary devices here. But it's like, yeah, of course, some people are probably not going to like this because it's not as like kind of not necessarily masculine forward, but yeah, just like aggressive, classic murder protag as the pred or antagonist, and not making him the protagonist. This is the only way you can make a Predator or Yautja interesting to me is by like putting him through the ringer. Obviously, he's like sticking to a lot of his like moral code and shit, which is really important to the character. But at the end of the day, like the found family to me that we get at the end of the movie with the Kalisk and Elle Fanning's Thia, because Tessa's out of the picture there. She's donezo at the very end as well. It felt cohesive enough to me where I enjoyed it, and I liked that the three of them ended up together. And like, Deck's still being Deck, and I think that's the most important thing. It's just like you got to be around a group of people that let you be yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, yeah. He learned. Yeah, I that was like my main thing is he has to learn to fight and like think a different way.
Yeah.
He like at the end when he's trying to get Thia out, he has to basically take everything that he's learned, all the environment stuff. He gets like some of the razor grass. He picks up like the snakes and he knows how to feed them.
And the snake is like the device.
It's like the device. See,
I
that's another part about it that I love because one of the Predator's like main weapons in the movie is like this laser cannon.
Yep.
That's like just on it's like a shoulder mount where it has these 3 lasers and they target something, and once it targets it and it fires, the person is dead.
Jonas, throw a red dot on my head.
There you go. Throw a red dot.
Throw a red dot on my head.
So it's this triangle 3 beam, and then it like closes in, and then like Weyland-Yutani, like they hack they get into the ship and they find that the shoulder gun.
Yeah.
And I just love that Deck he's familiar obviously with the technology,
Yeah.
so he just gets a snake to just like slither up on his bone bison armor because he also makes his own like helmet and stuff.
Just feed him with some flies.
He's just as long as you feed them, he can just shoot little pellets for you, and then that's the killing blows. That's your nature's turret gun. Is a snake.
Biggest spoiler up to this point. RIP the turret snake.
Yeah.
That turret snake really went all out for Deck, which we got to call it. We got to call out the turret snake. Love that guy.
Yeah, he learns how to respect the environment.
Yes,
and that's the thing. Yes. That's a very
I am one with
very
way
underrated
of water,
story of like respecting learning how to use the environment to your benefit.
It's really a Bruce Lee moment.
Yeah,
it's just like move like water, baby.
Yeah,
don't gotta smash and grab through everything. I mean, that's a powerful thing to learn as a. I keep wanting to say Predator, but it just sounds wrong every time. That's something you gotta learn in the Yautja culture. Is that I think maybe Predator culture is crazy. Yautja culture just seems like it's needing another level to their ability to hunt because it's so like tactical and based on tools. And I'm like, damn, you really threw your runt out to face the one thing that your dad doesn't even want to face. And that's another thing is that the dad is super scared of this planet and it just thinks it's ridiculous he's even going.
Again, he's like posturing.
He's posturing.
He's
an ore farmer, but the worst kind.
He markets himself as like this big bad man.
Yeah.
And he's like, even father fears the callus.
That's crazy because then you're like, okay, great. Now we just know the callus is
also,
this
it's
big
like,
baddie.
oh, so you're kind of a fraud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A complete fraud.
Yeah, you're actually a fraud.
You're a political fraud. You're a cultural fraud.
Okay.
Bro doesn't get this guy out. Throw him out into the Badlands. That's how this should have ended. Just throw him out into the Badlands at the end of the day.
I mean, he's definitely thrown to the afterlife.
By someone from the Badlands.
Which is great.
Yeah. Gotta love. That's crazy. We're going to jump around to the end a little bit.
We're going to jump around because I do. Yeah.
Let's talk about the end a little bit.
Kind of fun to talk about.
Like, obviously, Tessa goes down. I was kind of mid on the whole Tessa character.
Same.
I love Elle Fanning as Thia. I actually really love Thia. But Tessa is not my girl.
I thought it was a flashback at first.
You did? Okay.
I thought it was a flashback at first. I was like, oh, what's with the bum eye? Like, I didn't. That was the part where I was like, okay, something's weird.
And it's not the Weyland-Yutani logo in it.
Yeah. Because she was being repaired. I think that was the main thing. I was like, oh, okay, maybe this was a flashback of some kind. But then obviously when it becomes clear, like, oh yeah, the Yautja has Thia, then it's like, okay,
cool.
Yeah, what? Okay, that's something's up here.
It's just it's basically, I don't know. That's the part that now I'm thinking about it. Like, maybe we'll go back to some of the criticisms of it, but Weyland-Yutani kind of getting shoehorned into this film is not necessarily something that was on my bingo card for Predator Badlands. Again, I loved it for Thia, but kind of had a disdain for it at a certain point when they were just thrown in to be these synthetic antagonists that could also let them get away with the PG-13 rating.
They also weren't ruthless enough. I thought when they were getting captured,
oh my God.
I thought for sure that Tessa would erase Thia's memories.
Bro,
I was like, you got her strapped right there.
You can't stop at the we're gonna basically decommission you talk and be all like, oh, I'm high and mighty, and then not do the thing because you're all talk.
Yeah, you gotta wipe her memories. You have to erase her feelings. I mean, they're very sophisticated. They can deprogram things, I'm sure. That was the one big plot hole where I was like, if this were real life, this movie would end right here.
Right now.
The Yautja would be dead and mind of his anatomy.
Seriously.
And then Thia would never work again.
Well, the moment Thia knocks it out and is like, okay, we're stopping the process, which was also, again, shout out the whole 3D effect they were using on his brain. I was like, oh, we're on a little streak here of movies we've seen where they use the 3D effect. Very cool. But yeah, when it was going on the brain waves kind of X-ray, it's just shut down. You got to look at Tessa and be like,
See,
sis, I'm shutting you down.
I thought
like,
his
sister
brain was
is done.
completely fried.
Dude,
there was
I'm like, how wasn't it?
There was no effects of that. It was just like, the brain, like they just went to his brain and like they cooked it a little bit.
Yeah.
But apparently, maybe they'll just
Is he good?
Maybe they'll just chalk it up to Yautja anatomy.
Seriously.
Yeah, that's the only thing I could think of.
Is the Yautja anatomy? Is it Yautja brain just built different? It has to be.
Yeah.
That skull has to be built different.
Yeah.
But I do think once we get to the end there, it's a great point because that's the thing I just didn't really enjoy about Tessa or Weyland-Yutani since at the very end of this is that one, yeah, exactly. They're not ruthless enough. Like you're telling me Weyland-Yutani attained this much power in the galaxy and wasn't just like a strong, just hand down on every single thing. I also didn't really love the Thia Tessa sister subplot because they try to make a comparison between Deck and his brother.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I cared about Deck and his brother and the death of his brother, and you got me caring about that in the first 15 minutes, but nothing clicked about Thia and Tessa. I was like, just give me Thia. Thia's the synth that ran away, and it's Thia against all the other synths, but I guess you got to put some more emotion behind the antagonist, because Tessa's really the only antagonist film that isn't just like a random organism in the Badlands, right?
Yeah.
In Genna, or Jenna, trying to like be like, all right, we're going to kill this guy, because it's kind of how we operate.
Yeah. Yeah, that didn't really quite work for me, but, you know, she does die. She does get completely effed up. She's the one who tries to use the Yautja's actual turret gun on people.
Oh, and then Deck's like, that's not yours.
And I love, I love when she's like completely defeated and is like, that's not yours. I'm going to rip that off.
Deck should do a comedy stand-up special when he gets back home, TBH.
Speaking of when he gets back home, this is great. Let's jump to the end. A fully formed found family Deck.
A fully formed baby
faces
Kalisk.
his father. Yeah, baby. That's true.
Yeah.
And the Kalisk is huge now.
Yeah, Kalisk is massive.
And he basically, I love that he just takes everything that he learned and just absolutely fucks up his father. no other way to say it. He's got so many different weapons.
It's
he's
so cool.
So much fight experience. He conquered a death planet.
Yeah.
And now he's so resourceful, but now he has his full like outfit of weapons.
Seriously. And I love when he uses the ship to kind of get through the cloak, because I'm like, the cloak's a dirty move. It's not equal. Like, what do y'all stand on as a Yautja?
He also knows that his father doesn't fight fair.
Yeah.
So he's like, you know what? All's fair in love and war, I think is kind of what he goes with. Yeah, I did like the fact that he turned on the ship so that he could see him through the cloak the entire time. He's like, you know what? You killed my brother.
In front of me.
You killed your son in front of me. Yeah. So I don't care I'm going to do whatever it takes to win because you're just such a piece of crap.
A piece of crap.
And so I love that and then it's pretty badass when he kills him. He's like, I'll take that cloak now.
Yeah.
And then it's just this little ball and it goes and
so
then it like
sick,
immediately cloaks. I was like, that's
it immediately cloaks and kind of does the thing where it's like, okay, it's a ripple effect, and then he's just back to Deck. Because Deck's just like, I'm here. Like, I'm assuming the rest of his family were all the other Yautjas that like get out of whatever their little clan den is.
Yeah,
there was a lot of Yautjas.
I was wondering about
like 4 or 5 more Yautjas. But are you gonna really fight the Kalisk? Because now he's got. That's the one thing where I'm like, okay, landed the ship. I think this movie for the criticisms we had about it, for me at least, lands the ship really well. No pun intended. And like when they land that ship, they kill the final fight. It's incredible. And then get the adult Kalisk in at this point. It makes me wonder. When the Kalisk bites off dad's head, and he's like, you want to finally take your place amongst us. You finally proved yourself. Another strongman type like mentality. And then he's like, well, guess what, Dad? I found my own clan. We're gonna make our own thing. And then here comes the one big baddie, bites him off, bites his head off. It's a very satisfying ending. Super satisfying.
Being you know what? That dad is so terrible. And
he deserved everything that was coming for him. He deserved
everything that he got.
He's a bad example. I'm sure there are some great Yautja dads out there. You got to think that if the brother could show a little bit of empathy, that there's other empathy in the Yautja culture. It is still very like power hungry and power driven, but there's no way this interaction exists and it's not happening throughout the planet. It's in little bits and pockets.
Well, the tease is going to be very interesting because that whole like...
Oh, let's get into the
title card comes and then it just immediately cuts back to the movie and it's like, who's that? My mother.
So sick. I was like, wait.
And I was like, wait a second. So if we're assuming a nuclear family, family of 4, the father killed the older brother, then the son killed the father. Now the mother is back to basically see what happened with the rest of the family.
I want to know more about the matriarchal culture of the Yautja, because we definitely
did not see any of that in any of the other movies that I've seen.
No Trachtenberg and no OG Pred movies, unless I haven't
seen Predator 2 or anything like that or any of the other ones. Just like those 4.
No, exactly.
So there's probably some other stuff, some lore that we're definitely missing. But again, at least with this new crop, definitely have not explored that yet.
Yeah.
And it definitely will be explored. I wonder how that's gonna turn out and who's gonna play the mother.
Honestly, who's the
Sigourney Weaver?
Shout out Sigourney Weaver.
She's just doing all the random. She's just scooping up all the Disney roles. She's in the freaking. She's gonna be in the Mandalorian movie. She's gonna be in Avatar again.
Who is Captain Phasma? Because she's
Gwendolyn Christie.
Shout out Gwendolyn Christie. Because I'm not a Game of Thrones guy. I've never seen more than a few episodes. I know she's big in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Right. I think she was just in the newest season of Severance.
She was in Severance.
Yeah. I love her. And I mean, there's a reason they got her in the most. Oh my God. Talk about the two. Finn. Well, I'm not going to get into it too deep. So I'm not going to talk about Finn. I'm going to stop myself right there. But Captain Phasma could have been a character. Let her run it again in a suit. You know what I mean? She's very good actor and very imposing. But you're going to Sigourney Weaver watch on this one.
I just think
that'd be so funny.
It just feels like that's the trend it's going. It's like, Sigourney. Actually,
are you thinking
that'd be kind of funny because I was just thinking, obviously Sigourney Weaver's famous for the Alien franchise.
Of course.
What if she just hops into the Predator franchise as like not her?
And then she comes back as a synth in the Weyland-Yutani
that would be
mega
crazy.
future.
That would be crazy. They're just like, Ripley was just too much of a problem.
Much of a problem. We had to make our own Ripley. Well, they also just finished, if we're on the kind of now connected universe, because I do want to talk about it a little bit now. We've reached the end. I think we really like these films, these last 3 Trachtenberg films. And again, this is a continuation of good stuff coming out of his brain for what he's doing.
It comes right out of that brain.
Come out of that brain.
Right out of that brain,
crazy.
right into the screen.
I just gave Jonas a clip to throw at the beginning.
Just pours right out, right onto that screen.
And that's all you're seeing from Dan Trachtenberg. But obviously Dan Trachtenberg's done a lot of really good other shit, right? Like that people love. And I just in TV especially.
10 Cloverfield Lane is one I know that he did. I've never seen it.
He's done some stuff in Stranger Things. I know people love.
That was another thing.
Yeah,
the voices of the Yautja computers are the Duffer brothers, who are the creators of Stranger Things.
Yeah,
and so he's really directing a Stranger Things, and I'm sure that was like a very pulled
a James Gunn moment,
quid pro quo. It's like, well, okay, like if you get us in the latest Predator movie, we'll let you direct a Stranger Things.
Yeah, well, we'll give you one of the final episodes.
That feels like the bargain that they struck.
Do you think the bargain is we'll give you the penultimate episode? Because they're coming out with season 5, right?
Very soon.
Oh man.
Maybe by the time this is out, I don't really know. I forgot what the release date is. But
no Stranger Things spoilers here because I've also been sloughing. I stopped at season 2.
Oh, you stopped at season 2. Okay.
So I know what happens at the end of season 2.
I did do freelance. I did like a video for season 4. So like, So like right after the
so
season
you're locked in and ready to roll.
Right after the season was the part 2 of season 4 was done. I was like, all right, well, let's get to editing.
Season 5, part 1 through 5. Once you're done editing that, you'll finish it before they're done editing the several parts.
Yeah, it's like 3 parts or something. 2 or 3 parts. Like they're just dividing. Anyways, that's a discussion.
It's a whole
for
other
thing.
Well, we'll have to talk to Bowie about that. I know he's a big Stranger Things fan. But I do want to get it back to that connected franchise thing because we're at the end of this film. I want to finish this whole episode with obviously ratings and final thoughts on Badlands. But one final note on what you want out of an Aliens v Predator franchise because it's gonna happen. There's no way that we don't get at least Trachtenberg involved in something like that. I am hedging my bets right now for the 50 to 100 people that watch these episodes. You put it here first. We're getting an Alien v Predator franchise or a reboot, at least of those films before 2028. They're going to announce something at Comic-Con. Like, it's just, you have gotten Romulus, you've gotten really good Trachtenberg films. We're going to get, we just had Alien Earth. I like the first 4 episodes I've seen of that. I know some people have some criticisms about the finale, but you're getting a lot of Alien and Predator shit coming out right now. Why not throw one out there for Halloween in a couple of years that people are really going to love? Because I want it. I want an Alien v Predator movie that's like it's set in the modern age with the modern directors. So how do you feel? I seem to be a little bit more excited about this, but all good if not.
Well, no, I haven't seen Alien Earth, so like I've heard people really like the beginning and it kind of like flails out at the end. But no, I'm looking forward. No, I'd say
you're in on this too.
As you are.
Let's go. Let's go.
Especially the Predator side, just because again the movies are so different.
Yeah.
And like they're like going into like different genres. I think in a way that people and like lore in a way that people certainly were not. I don't think they were expecting or like asking for, but like I think people appreciate. So I'm looking forward to whatever it is. I mean, you could go the sci-fi action route, you go the horror route, you can go thriller route, you can go drama even if you want to get
oh my god, that's the beauty of these two franchises are right now. Obviously I think I'm a bit of a poser because I got to go back. Obviously finally got to see the original Alien in Aliens, great films. I need to see Predator 1 now and experience all that Arnold Schwarzenegger goodness. But hopefully, in the next couple of years, we'll get some news about that. That's why I'm like, do you want another Predator film, or do we just jump right to the collab?
Yeah, I mean, I'll take anything.
Amazing.
Honestly, I'll take whatever build up, or if they want to go straight into it. I'm for Disney franchises, I'm like pretty confident in that one.
Yeah,
actually, that one feels like it's being helmed by like some pretty like interesting people who wanna try stuff.
Yeah,
which is cool. I mean, is there like what we talked about? Is there some Disneyification with some of the plot elements in this latest Predator? Sure, but they're just three different swings, completely different swings at what those movies can be. And so I just look forward to whatever the next interpretation of that is. Whatever Dan wants to put out there, I'll see.
We'll be there seated opening weekend every time he does something. So then I'll throw it back to you, Chris. Final rating and final thoughts on Predator Badlands.
3.5. 3.5 out of 5. But it's a very like hell yeah 3.5.
Love that. Yeah.
Again, we've talked all about what we think of this movie pro con. But it's very much a 3.5 star movie, and that's not any sort of like detriment to it at all. It's just like it knows exactly basically what it wants to be, and then it just like is that thing. So yeah, 3.5 out of 5. What about you?
Gonna have to change my Letterboxd review because I came out feeling a hell yeah 4.5, and then I'm doing this thing where I'm like, okay, I'm looking back on movies this year that I regret my initial scores on, and I'm gonna say them right now. There are two of them, big time. The Materialists. Feel like I was glazing that a bit too much. Think Fantastic Four, glazing it a bit too much. Still good films that I like, and we'll revisit that in another episode. So that's why I'm going to settle back off that 4.5 and give it a final hell yeah 4 out of 5, which is funny because it's every Trachtenberg Predator movie has gotten a 4 out of 5 for me so far. Prey is probably still my favorite of the three. Killer of Killers, just watched that recently. Great watch, very tight. That's the thing about these three movies too. You know, I love a good under 2 hour movie, especially when it's got a lot of action. It's action heavy. And he's able to balance a very tight line between giving Yautja character development, which I was not expecting. That was probably my biggest hell yeah. Outside of the awesome effects, the really inventive, I think, storytelling. And now that we're saying, right, it's got to be through Disney, and you have to accept that there's probably some execs in the room trying to muck up some of the creative process in a way that maybe a Dan Trachtenberg would not like. But it seems like you can tell they let Trachtenberg give about 80 to 90% reins in this film, which is more than you can get from most IPs nowadays, which is awesome. Predator is a movie franchise that seems like it has just new energy, and a breath of fresh air has been breathed into it. Like it's like it's an old timey thing, but I know it's like when people had those really dirty chimneys, right? Like you clean them out by just using the air pressure and shit. That's kind of what it feels like they're doing with Alien and Predator right now. It's like, let's just like get something new, see if it sticks. And I hope it's been received well. I know like people on Letterboxd like it, like Rotten Tomato reviews are what they are. They're above 80%. So hopefully Disney sees it and they're just like, damn, let's throw some more money behind not only Predator, but allowing Dan Trachtenberg to continue doing what he's been doing. So I'm a big fan. I'm gonna give it a hell yeah 4 out of 5.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. No complaints there.
No complaints there. Yeah. Shoot. And should I just hit him with we thank you for watching another episode of Pinoys versus the World, as always, executively produced and edited by Jonas Hyllseth. We're going to be keeping these a little shorter, hopefully. So this goes out to him and his one battle after another edit.
This goes out to him and his time.
Always.
And his life. Yeah.
His whole life.
Yeah, exactly. We'll
hit him with a thank you, Jonas, if you've made it this far.
Yeah.
In the comments below.
Comment down below.
Comment down below. Thank you, Jonas. Yeah. And I'll say it right now. Thank you, Jonas, once again for editing this episode of Pinoys versus the World. As always, my name is Harald Hyllseth.
My name is Chris Angkico.
And we will speak with you all in the next episode. Peace.